Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 4 of Harley Quinn Season 3. So yeah, last time we had the Villy Awards and everything, and it's a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. Got to meet Kite Man's new girlfriend, got to see what Clayface is up to with Billy Bob Thornton, apparently, who's now dead. Had a little Catwoman stuff as well with Batman, and yeah, all kinds of fun stuff going on. But now we move on, and I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen next. We'll just have to see. This season doesn't seem very... How do I put it? Like, what would the word be? I guess, just as a way to put it, it doesn't seem like it's very well constructed, and that's not saying that it's poorly written or anything like that, because it's not. What I mean is that I don't see at all where this is going. Like, we're almost halfway through the season, right? And there almost doesn't seem to be any kind of through line. Anything that's connecting what's happening this season. Like, there's the supposed plan to terraform Gotham, but we know that's not going to work. And we know that that's not really being focused on. Like, it's briefly, very briefly touched on. But it's more highlighting just the fact that Harley and Ivy are together. That's really the only thing that the series is choosing to, like, give the focus to. And I love that. It's great, but it's not really much of a plot. It makes these episodes feel very disconnected. Like, even with the storyline going on with Clayface and everything, and James Gunn, and even with other stuff, it just doesn't feel like this has a point yet. Mind you, I've only seen 3 episodes. So, that could change very quickly. But at the same time, it's like, who knows? Honestly, who knows? It could change, it could not. This season might just be less story focused. And I think I mentioned this before, but the issue with that is that each season of a show, each consecutive season, should ramp up the scale. Or at the very least, keep it consistent to where it doesn't feel like it's backtracking. You really shouldn't go from having massive stakes and big story progression to a season that is taking it slow and holding back and has very low stakes. Because that destroys the immersion. And some people would argue that it's more realistic that way, because in the real world, not everything builds up and continues building up like that. And yes, that's true. But that's not how shows work. shows have to keep building things up and have to keep increasing things, because once you raise the stakes once, it's like the viewers are going to want and expect them to be raised again. It's going to just automatically be, excuse me, in their mind. It's going to automatically be what they want to see, just from a subconscious level. And so not delivering on that, and instead giving something that's a lot more reserved and held back, is going to disappoint a lot of the viewers. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I mean, you could have all the great comedy and all the awesome relationship stuff, but when it feels like this season has less stakes than the first, I don't know, it just feels off to me. Like, I understand that this is a comedy show, that it's meant to be a satire first and foremost. I understand that. But there's still, like, certain things that if shows don't adhere to, it hurts them. Even with comedies. And for a story-based show, it needs to have that level of progression. But, I mean, I'm still enjoying it. And again, I'm only 3 episodes in. Who knows where this could go? This is like, what, 10 episodes or so? So, it could definitely ramp things back up. It could definitely, you know, I guess you could say fix things in that regard. And I hope it does. I just don't see where it's going at the moment. That's all I'm trying to say with all this. I don't see where it's going. But maybe this episode will give us a little view into that. So we're going to get it started and hope for the best. Yeah. Sorry if I seem tired as well. This is my first thing I'm recording today, as of on the day I'm recording this. And I'm pretty tired. It's just after 8 a.m. So. Oh, excuse me. And I mean more than just the yawning, because I yawn pretty much all the time anyway. Either way. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, HBO Max was okay with this series having a very graphic orgy that showed a shit ton of people having sex, including showing, even if not like having the nipples unblurred, plenty of tits bouncing around and shit, and very much had a guy lubing his dick up at a couple points. Yet, you know, they can't show Batman eating out Catwoman. That's crossing a line. Because Batman's a hero, he can't be shown doing that, because heroes don't do that. Because heroes aren't allowed to reciprocate love to their partners. No, that's going too far. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. I know. I'm still harping on this. I know. But oh my god, it is so irritating. And it's only one of the things that HBO Max has done that has been terrible lately. But oh my god, I don't get it. You can have a full blown orgy with bouncing titties and a dude lubing up his dick, but you can't have Batman eating out Catwoman. I don't understand the logic at play. It makes no sense. No argument works here. There is no argument that can be made that make sense. It is so fucking dumb. But also, this episode had a fucking orgy in it. And it's like I did not expect that. Like this series has gone pretty heavy into the adult content, obviously. Um, it's kind of one of the bigger appeals of the show, the fact that it is willing to do that. And we've seen characters get nearly entirely naked before, or even entirely naked just with, like, censorship things. Like, even earlier in this season, Ivy and Harley were in a bed together, completely buck naked, with only their bits censored out by money. But they were completely buck naked in that scene. And it's like, okay, so we're having that kind of stuff. But here it's a little different. It's not just nudity, it's full on it's a full on orgy. It's an orgy that's a little bit bigger than just having nudity. You're having characters having full on sex, and it's showing it. And even though you don't see any, like, dicks in their entirety uncensored, or any uncensored tits or anything, or any uncensored assholes or vaginas or anything, even though you don't see any uncensored bits, it's still showing the act going on. It's showing people being fucked in all kinds of different positions, in all kinds of different ways. It's very graphic. And again, there's multiple people on there you could see with their tits bouncing back and forth as they're being fucked. And it's like, this is extremely graphic. This is the most graphic scene I think this show has had in terms of, graphic adult content. I would even put this above the general graphic violence scenes. Like, graphic violence with all the blood and broken bones and shit and melting faces that we've seen in this series. It's like, I would actually put this as being much more graphic. And I think part of that is the unexpected nature of it. Because even with the boys, when they did their big Hero-gasm orgy thing, that was more expected because everybody knew that was coming. Pun intended. Because it was super hyped up. At least for me, I had no clue this was coming. Maybe it was featured in a trailer, but this was so out of left field for me. It was so surprising that they did this that it really caught me off guard. But as I said in the reaction, it's like, if everyone there is consenting and everything, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, the only bad thing that could come from it is, some of them get STDs. And which is bad, mind you. Or STIs, whichever term you want to use. Which is bad, but if they're consenting, it's their fault. If they're going to have sex with people they don't know and are not going to use proper protection, that's on them. So yeah. And even Bane was there and getting naked and everything, and it's like I saw a lot more of Bane's skin than I was ever expecting to see. Um, I saw a lot more of a lot than I was ever expecting to see in this show. Um, and again, I have no problem with that. I've talked on the show before. I don't have a problem with nudity. I maybe used to in the past when I was, you know, kind of living in accordance to how I was manipulated as a child to be adverse to sex and everything. And that was a whole thing I could talk forever on. But to put it simply, for those who might not know, as a child, I was grown up to be adverse to sex because of the church. And so I grew up thinking that I didn't want sex. I grew up thinking I was asexual because I was manipulated into thinking I had to be. Because I was manipulated into thinking that sex is inherently bad, basically. And I only realized in the recent years that, yeah, that's not the case. I'm actually fine with sex. That I have no issue with it at all. And that I'm not asexual, I'm pansexual. Which I already knew I was panromantic, but yeah. And so it's like I have no problem like watching a show or a movie or whatnot and seeing nudity or full-on sex scenes or whatnot. That doesn't bother me. In fact, sometimes it's actually pretty hot. But it's not even an issue. It's just my thing is that if I'm not expecting it, it just catches me so off guard, and I don't know how to react, especially when it's in this kind of context. But yeah. Anyway. Also, they were fucking hooting. Okay, not moving on just yet, but they were fucking hooting. Some of them were hooting while they were having sex. It's like, what the fuck? Why are you I get you're the Court of Owls, but why are you hooting while fucking? That's weird. That's really weird. If it turns you on, go for it. But oh my, what? I think it was just for the joke. But oh my god, that was weird. That was weirder than the cream pie to the ass or whatever was going on in that one room that Jim walked into. Like that is more okay. That's less weird to me than the hooting, which in and of itself sounds weird. That's weirder to me. Now let's move on though, because this episode wasn't really about that. Obviously, it was about Harley and Ivy having to learn to be honest and open with each other. And I like that that through this arc of their relationship, they're still learning how to relationship. They're learning how to handle all of that. And so, through this episode, we see that Ivy is lying to Harley. Harley is being annoying and disruptive and hurting Ivy's quality of work while she's trying to get this stuff done for her grand plan. But she doesn't want to tell Harley that because she doesn't want to disappoint her or hurt her in any way. So she makes up these lies about Catwoman telling her, oh, you can't use those instruments, you can't use that toilet. And it works, but it also causes issues later on. Harley ends up getting annoyed by everything and starts destroying the security cameras because she thinks Catwoman is watching them. Which leads to problems later on when Frank is kidnapped by someone, presumably in the Court of Owls, because of the pin that was left behind. And so the security cameras being broken aren't able to show who did it, who kidnapped Frank. And it also causes problems once Ivy finds out about that, and once Harley finds out that Ivy's been lying to her about Catwoman. And it all comes to a head as they talk about this during the orgy. And it's revealed that Ivy and Catwoman used to be a thing. And this makes so much sense because, as we saw in earlier seasons, Ivy was kind of obsessed with Catwoman. Like, she had a... I think it was pretty fucking obvious she had a massive thing for her. But it also seemed like she was maybe a little conflicted about it as well, which makes a lot of sense considering what we found out about their relationship in this. Their relationship was not healthy. Ivy genuinely cared for Catwoman, but it was not mutual. And it wasn't, as Ivy basically put it, it wasn't even really a relationship. It was a sex thing. And so it ended up being broken off, and they just went their separate ways. But Ivy always kind of held that fear that her other relationships would turn out like that. But she realized once she got together with Harley that this is different, that this is mutual, respectful love, and that she wants things and knows things will be different. So it's good to be able to talk to Harley about this. Seeing them have to learn to be more honest with each other and open with each other is important. It's something that's important for any relationship, whether in a series like this or in real life. Honesty and openness are what creates trust. And trust is integral for a relationship. It's necessary. So I really like what they did with that in this episode and how they showcased that. But the question was never answered at the end. Who did kidnap Frank? All we saw at the end was that Frank was, well, kidnapped. And this kind of reminds me of in season 1 when Ivy is kidnapped. You know? I think it was season 1. Was it season 1 or season 2? But it was, you know, when Ivy was kidnapped by Scarecrow? That was season 1. Okay, that was definitely season 1. You remember when that happened? And at first it didn't show who kidnapped her, but then afterwards it then later in the next episode revealed it was Scarecrow. It kind of reminds me of that. But we also know Scarecrow's dead, so it's not going to be him again. But I'm wondering, who is it going to be this time? And why is this so similar? Is he being kidnapped because of his new powers? Did someone find out about that? Or is it something else? I guess we'll find out. But this actually is giving me some hope for what I was talking about in the pre-thoughts. This seems like this could be starting to go into more of a through line with the story. By introducing something that's going to be a multi-episode arc, it could actually start like giving us those stakes that we were kind of missing for this season. So hopefully this ends up helping us out quite a lot. But again, I'm still enjoying the season no matter what. And how the fuck is the incumbent mayor still alive, by the way? Like, how the fuck did he survive getting impaled at that velocity? Like, oh my god, how is he alive? I get it's part of the joke. I understand that from a writing and humor perspective. I get that. But, like, how would he actually have survived that? Like, the series tries to keep it realistic in terms of what the human body can take. I don't know. I mean, I can't even think of a way that would work, but okay. Tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.